Hello, I'm Victor and this is the Junkyard. You know, of all the comedy actors I grew up watching over the years, there's one guy who I've been a fan of as long as I can remember. Leslie Nielsen. Today we're going to look at Leslie Nielsen's career through some of his major films.
To start, Nielsen's most famous pre-comedy movie part was that of Commander Adams in Forbidden Planet. In all honesty, the hyper-masculine, self-righteous, and almost outstandingly generic Adams might stand as his funniest role to date. A lot of this is the serious, deadpan persona that he would end up using later to such great effect in his better films. For the next few years, Nielsen would go on to have minor film and television roles, including, I just found out while researching this, the captain of the ship in Poseidon Adventure. But, having lost some of that muscly blondness to trim white-hairedness, he got a role in 1980's Airplane.
Before I go into Leslie Nielsen's role in that, I'd like to point out that Airplane was one of those parodies that managed to outshine its source material.
See, Airplane parodied the Airport series that was popular in the 70s. Ask around sometime to see how many people have watched Airplane, then ask how many of those people saw any of the Airport films.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nielsen's character played a supporting role in the film as the dignified and competent Dr. Rumack. His humor mainly came from how he reacted to things or characters, but his aforementioned serious delivery heightened what could have been some of the film's more mediocre running gags to the level of hilarity. His performance was recognized by directors Abrams, Zucker, and Zucker, and he ended up taking the role of Detective Frank Drebin in their television show Police Squad. There he played a Joe Friday-style cop in a world full of rapid-fire puns, sight gags, and other oddities. The show, though only having a short television run, would lead to Nielsen playing the same character in the Naked Gun films 1, 2.5, and 3 1/3. I should point out, due to the odd sequel numbering on these, I would later assume for years that Hot Shots Part 2 is the only Hot Shots film, since apparently sequels can be numbered arbitrarily. Anyway, the film saw Nielsen being a bit more wacky. He got to show more emotions, which he probably appreciated as an actor, and it did work to comedic effect. The same approach was taken in films like Dracula, Dead and Loving It, and Spy Hard, which I thought were both quite funny.
Now I have to stand back and let something I said in a previous video come back and bite me in the ass.
A while back, I posted a video here proposing a new word, basically in response to the never-ending flow of crappy movies, that I called degrading. To avoid having to remake that entire video, I'll summarize what degrading is. It's a form of comedy that uses pop culture references and lame jokes to imitate actual parody without the logical and conceptual juxtapositions that define parody.
It shows you things you know without making you look at them in a different way.
Looking back, I am forced to admit that, by my own definition, Dead and Loving It and Spy Hard both had a fair bit of degrading mixed in with the parody. There were times when a reference was made, and instead of just moving on, they pointed it out just in case we didn't notice, and then reacted to it in case we didn't realize the absurdity of it. Still, all in all, I again enjoyed these films, degrading and all. Wrongfully Accused was where wacky Leslie took over pretty much completely, and his films fell entirely to degrading. It had its moments, but overall it just felt cobbled together. Still, when I saw the 2000 film 2001: A Space Travesty in 2002 while at a Blockbuster, I enthusiastically rented it and took it home, amazed that I had overlooked this release. I put the DVD in the player and... well, I seem to have repressed most of it, but in short, it beat me like a stepchild and touched me in a bad place.
The worst part is, I can't get angry at the filmmakers because they had the decency to warn me in the title.
Well, since then, besides the tons of smaller movie and TV parts, voice work, and side projects that he's stayed busy with for pretty much his entire career, all Nielsen has really been doing on the big screen are the movies. And while I don't like these films, I do have to admire the fact that he's still working on the edgier, modern comedies instead of just slipping comfortably, and exclusively, into family comedy hell like so many of his bigger-name counterparts. Oh, Eddie, how far you've fallen.
And here I'd like to point out a book that I found in a secondhand store some years ago when my Nielsen fandom was at its height. The Naked Truth by Leslie Nielsen and David Fisher.
This autobiography tells of, among other things, Nielsen's struggle for stardom, his small but important part in Lawrence of Arabia, that ended up on the cutting room floor, and his heroic battle against his own addiction to dope. Jokes.
And according to IMDb, there's a film set to be made based on this for 2010. I don't know what to expect. I mean, it's not going to be a masterpiece. It could be bad, it could be painful, but it's Leslie Nielsen, and for him, I'm willing to bleed a little bit. I mean, what, you wouldn't? Surely it can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Look, I know the joke was lame, but the whole review has been dry. You try being funny about comedy. Anyway, this has been Victor. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.